I'm Anke Humpert. I'm a mixed media artist. One of my main fields is working with polymer clay, and I've been doing that for over 20 years now. Since I grew up in Germany, which is the country where polymer clay actually got introduced, I was introduced to polymer clay in my teens. Like a lot of people, I used it as a craft material and did the things that were fashionable at that time, but then I kind of forgot about it again. And when I was around, 16, 17, I started making a lot of jewelry for myself, but with beads and wire and stuff like that. So I got into jewelry, and I kept on doing that for a long time. And after studying, my husband gave me a book about beads, so I got into that back again. And a friend of mine, she introduced me to a shop in Berlin where I lived at that time, and they carried polymer clay. And I remember that I've been playing with that as a kid, so I went online and discovered that there's a whole universe with people working with polymer clay. And I found a couple of people in Germany. I worked together with them, and we actually founded the German Polymer Clay Guild, and I kind of got dragged into that, and since then I've been working with polymer clay. My main influences were created, of course, during my whole lifetime, and I think it started a lot with books and movies I had, and when I was a teenager I started reading science fiction, so I have a lot of influence from that, but also other fiction books and movies I watched, but also my kids influenced me. They always brought in new things I was looking at. My daughter, for example, she's really into manga, and so I got introduced to that. My son has more influence with music and that culture, so yeah, I think that was a lot that influenced me. As a child, I've been outside a lot and in nature, so that's another influence I have, but also things like bionic and structures. And I mean, I've been studying architecture, so that's another influence I have. And I think it all comes together and creates a big pool for me, where I always draw new inspiration and new connections to create my work. At first, I think, like a lot of people, I was drawn in by cane making and covering beads with the repetitive patterns and everything, but that is not really my style. So it was like a gateway into it, but I started working more with textures and surfaces and trying to develop my own style and my own language in my work. So now I hardly ever work with canes anymore, but I'm using lots of different material connected with polymer clay. And it's, as I said before, all the influences I have, I'm trying to bring into my work and show what is important for me and what interests me. I mean, I dipped into all kinds of things, and I'm not so much a jewelry maker now anymore, but I'm working with multimedia. Whatever strikes my fancy, I try to bring into polymer clay. But I've also been writing a lot, articles, tutorials, and I have a number of books published already. Most of them German, but also one in English, and I've contributed to other people's books about polymer clay, but I have a number of articles published in American magazines mainly, and I started working for Polyforum, and I'm on the design team, so I have a whole bunch of published articles and tutorials, and I would say one main focus is making things, but the other main focus I really enjoy is teaching other people how to make things. So that's I think that would be like my two main focuses in my work. There's so many influences coming from different areas, like for example, there's a lot of people doing sculptures with figurines and things like that, but also more in cosplay, and a lot of young people are in the maker scene. So I think there's a lot of influences coming from all these different directions towards polymer clay, and I'm really excited when I think about more and more young people discovering the material and being drawn in and working with it, because I think the polymer clay scene, especially in the States, needs new input. And a lot of our generation, I would say, is getting a little bit older. So having new influences and new people coming in is really exciting, and I'm looking forward to that. I think I'm kind of at a crossroad at the moment, and I want to change my things a little bit up, because I've been working a number for years on that now, and I can't really predict which direction I will go from here on, but I've been collecting and researching a lot, and I'm really excited about seeing where the work will lead me. And I think I want to be a bit more true to my original sources, like I said, the science fiction books, the nature, structures, bionic, and I want to integrate that much more into my work, and maybe also leave the jewelry making a bit and go more into sculpture and building bigger structures and things like that. So I'm really excited for that to come. Well, nowadays there are so many sources and information you can find everywhere. It's pretty easy to find tutorials that teach you the basics. And I think the most important thing is to figure out what you actually want to do and get the feel for it. So just get a couple of blocks of polymer clay and start playing with it. And then go online and see what other people do. And I think it pretty quickly draws you in, and it's like a rabbit hole. You find so many things. It's pretty easy to get started. And also ask other people. It's the scene is very open, and they're always helping new people coming in, so that's not really a problem, I think.